out little card collecting app, trying to reinforce the idea of creating some form of data in your application, rendering that to the page, and still following with the same format of those different application layers in that kind of flow. So just reinforcing those kind of MVC patterns. Data is represented on the page, actions come in from the controller, all that good stuff here. Okay, so we are going to get started again with the BCW create. This application is called Gotchamon. Right, we're going to pick the MVC template. We do not want an extra directory, so we will just hit enter here, and we will pick npm node package manager. No additional templates, and then we'll go into Gotchamon. We'll open this up. Why don't we find a cool color here using Peacock? Looking for something kind of bright, I think. Yellow's kind of nice. Okay, and we'll go to our terminal, new terminal, BCW live, and then I can do our split view here. So we'll open these two things up side by side. I'll give myself a little bit more room over here on this side. Cool. We can kind of see that open up. So one cool thing that we can kind of do right out of the gate is we go into our index HTML, we maybe change some of these things, change it from this icon to maybe something a little bit more. Our Gotchamon application, probably just going to be using pictures from the Emojipedia, just because these are, some pretty easy images to get and play around with. Maybe this time we'll go with the Apple iOS images here. Let's see, we got our icon right here. We can change that out with our little orangutan here. Ooh, actually, I think we have a CD optical disc, something like this. Ooh, the computer disc. We'll grab something like this. Yeah, that could be our icon here. Nice, that looks kind of cool. We have a lot of stuff kind of up here. Maybe we'll just use the same thing. Looks like we're bringing in an image source there. Gotta change that to Gotchamon. Navbar dark. Something we could actually try doing is doing a data VS theme. Dark. Do have a lot of the bootstrap here. I guess that doesn't work with this stuff. Cool. Maybe do, instead of like navbar dark, maybe do like primary or something like that. Text light. It says text light, then went dark. Just kind of do that and see what pops up. Font weight, bold, text light, text center. We probably want the text center up here. Nope, doesn't want to do that. Oh, because it's got all these other collapses on it. I think we can justify content center though. Move that stuff around. No. Let's start with our model. Gotchamon JS. I'm going to export class Gotchamon constructor, and we're actually going to define this constructor a little bit different than usual, and that's just because we want to try and show a different way of how you could create these Gotchamon. So instead of building them out with, like, let's say like name, picture, they're kind of going to be like collectible cards, so they would have a rarity to them, right? Instead of defining everything in the constructor like this, we would just define this with data. This allows us to kind of pass in an object that'll have these items. Really all this does is change it from like this.name to data.name, right? This.picture to data.picture. This dot rarity equals data.rarity. This dot, what would be another good one? description equals data dot description, something like that. Kind of maybe enough to kind of show a little bit on the card. Maybe they'll have like a type too, like this dot type equals data dot type. We'll kind of pick from different like emojis and kind of try and have a little fun with them. I'm also gonna start with a get specifically for like a little piece of a template. So we're gonna say get, call this the little card, okay? And I'm just gonna have this return for right now a span, okay? And we can use HTML like that to make it kind of look like HTML. And I'm just gonna interpolate this name. A very, very small little template here. And this is gonna come in handy when I go to draw this to the page. I can create something more complex, and we'll probably want to do something more complex. But for right now, I just want to start with something pretty small, and then we'll kind of go from there, okay? So cool. Let's go into our app state, similar to what we kind of did on the last lesson, and we'll create a couple in here. So we will say Gachamon. Gachamon is both plural and singular. We could go Gachamons, right? If we wanted to make it a little more obvious that this is a multiple. And then we'll say new Gachamon. See, now this takes in a thing called data instead of like name, picture, and stuff like that. So what we need to do is we need to pass an object that has these properties, okay? So we'll start with the classic. We'll do Oslo, okay? And so we need a name, picture, type, rarity, picture, type, rarity, and description. Maybe we'll get rid of description. Maybe we'll bring a description back in later. Let's keep it a little bit simple for now, and we'll come back with the description later. Oslo is the orangutan. Like I said, I think we're going to use the iOS ones today. Type is, he is an intellectual. I'm not intellectual, I can't spell the word, I guess. And he is a common card, meaning there's a lot of Oslos around. And cool. So we can do this over and over again for our different types of Gachamon. So maybe we'll start with 3. Create Justin. Justin is the pig. Copy image link. Justin is also an intellectual. He is also common. And then maybe we'll make one that's a little rare. We got Xanther here. Xanther is a shark. Ooh, that's a good one right there. Copy image link. Boop. Xanther is a biter. And he is uncommon. Okay, just a tiny bit rarer. Maybe we'll do one more. We'll make them rare. We got Jung. Jung is a zebra. Beautiful. Copy image link. Boop. Jung is a razor. And Jung is rare. Okay. It's cool. I've created data. Something I can do if I want to ever view my app state, kind of down here under this like export const app state, you can actually log app state. And then when your page loads, you'll actually get to kind of see that item open up, right? And we can see that we have our 4 gotchamon inside of it. You have to kind of, click in a few times. Again, it's kind of the different layers kind of wrapped around some of this stuff. But yeah, kind of do that. Start with our 4, and then why don't we go ahead and create our gotchamon controller. And then we can try and draw this data to the page. Export class gotchamon's controller. We'll do a constructor here. Constructor is really nice to have inside the controller. We can definitely log something like gotchamon, something like that, right? Like a great tagline. And we want to make sure this controller is actually registered with our application, right? We can see this is the home controller popping up. We don't get that for our gotchamon's controller because we have not yet essentially registered it into the app. And I'm actually just going to comment out the home controller. We're not going to be using the home controller in today's lecture, but I will bring in the gotchamon's controller equals new gotchamon's controller. Oops, try to get to this. Make sure that imports from this orange one here. Cool. And then we'll see that console log pop up there just under our little app state log there. So very cool. Our controller is here. Let's create a draw gotchamons. And something we can do is we can say const gotchamons equals app state gotchamons. Let's go pull the reference out of the app state, and then we'll say let gotchamon's content equal an empty string. Gotchamons for each gotchamon's content plus equal gotchamon dot, and let's reference that getter here. And let's add that little card in. Const, we'll call this the card list elm equals, and then let's really quickly go in here and add in our card list somewhere. So maybe go into the main. Get rid of this comment, we don't need it. And we're going to say the main class container fluid probably. Section row. Stuff. This is going to be our cards list. And let's give this the ID. Cards list. So we'll be able to view essentially all of the little cards here. Cards list elm equals document get element by ID cards list, and then cards list elm inner HTML equals gotchamon's content. Now I just need this draw to happen when my page loads, and great place for that is right inside your constructor. This draw gotchamons. And we can see that list is already starting to draw here. Pretty sweet. Cool. So, kind of maybe going to change this a little bit. I don't think I want this to be a row. I do think I want to deflect. I don't think I'm going to be using columns for these. I'll probably come up with something a little bit smaller, like some custom class sort of thing. Probably do deflex, flex, wrap, justify, content, center. And we really just need to come up with what one of these cards looks like. So why don't we come into the assets here, style CSS, and we'll create a little card. And we can say this is going to have a width of, 200 pixels, border double black 3 pixels, border radius 4 pixels, let's go back to our Gotchamon, kind of order this around a little bit. Let's do div class little card here. Okay, that's not too bad. 200 pixels is probably too much. Let's do 100 pixels. I think that looks pretty good. And we'll probably have this class card name, something along those lines. Little card, padding, 3 pixels, card name, text align, end, maybe? Oh, this is a span. Make that a div. That kind of looks like that. Font weight bold. Maybe that looks pretty good. Margin. 5 pixels. 3 pixels. Background color. White. I think that's pretty decent. Box shadow. 0 pixels, 2 pixels, 3 pixels, black. Probably just kind of shrink it down like that. Not too bad. And maybe right under that we'll do image. Image fluid around the top. No, I don't need all those extra stuff in there. I'll make it myself. SRC. And let's bring in this dot picture. All right, so they're popping out. So we don't necessarily want that. So let's do our little card image width. Oh, not 10%. 100%. That might be too big. Let's do 800. Let's do 50. I like that. And then we will also do margin, inline, auto. Will that move them into the mode? No. Text on the center. Not bad, not bad. Right there. And yeah, we'll start with that. Card name, border, bottom, 1 pixel, solid, black. Lower that down quite a bit. Not bad. Margin, bottom, 2 pixels. Those are my little cards. Cursor pointer. Ooh, we can point on those. You need to get a little bit fancier by saying little card, hover, transform, translate Y, 10 pixels? Boop, 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 boop. Ooh, let's do negative 10 pixels. So they kind of go up. Here's where the magic really happens. You put a drop shadow on that, and you essentially increase the drop shadow by the amount that you translate. And it kind of looks like the card's still there. Probably have this shadow expand just a little bit too. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe it even loses a little bit of transparency. Okay, and then the magic is your transition all 0.2 seconds. And you throw in one of these crazy cubic Beziers. One of these specifically says it's like overshooting. I want to say that it's this one, 1.275. It's a wild one. And that's pretty cool. It's a kind of cool little animation there. Maybe add this transition back. Ease. Ooh, that's terrible. Dang. Got some fancy little cards here, ready to take on the world. Okay. We can customize these a little bit more too, right? Maybe we don't like these background colors too much, right? All the cards are white. We could probably come in here and create some custom classes. We have so we can kind of come in here and maybe we'll make some backgrounds that match those colors. So we did like background color, cornflower blue. We have biter, which is background color, pink, pale violet red, and then razor, background color. We have like, give me some good colors here. The dark khaki. We can also go with Indian red. Got a lot of great choices here. Medium sea green. How about that? Okay. And if we come back over here, we can string interpolate this type on the card. And now we kind of get essentially that custom class applied because the types match up with our custom classes here, which could be pretty cool. Do you think I probably want to do maybe one more little style here? Our image. We do a backdrop filter, drop shadow, 0 pixels, 2 pixels, 3 pixels, black. No, sorry, this should just be filtered. There you go. Pop out just a little bit. Yeah, something like that. Cool. I think that looks pretty decent, at least for kind of what we have. Just some starting cards here. Maybe we'd come up with a little bit more information about them, but I think this is a pretty good start. Okay. So that's our little card. We can always come in here and add in new types, new gotcha mode, right? If we came up with Herbert here, Herbert the gorilla. Oh, dang. Herbert is a rare, right? We'll see that they just kind of get added in, as I kind of build these items out. It's pretty nice. It's a lot of, kind of this whole application is just, can I create more data? Can that data just render to the page kind of automatically? I'm curious if this will stack the way I expect it to. Okay, it does. All right, so we should be good there. Cool.